enough is enough. I think we're all of the same belief and understanding that we can't sit back while ICE continues to harm individuals, families, and communities across the United States. The murder of Renee Good by an ICE agent in Minneapolis, Minnesota shook a lot of people and sparked nationwide dissent. Across multiple cities this week, ICE actions and federal responses escalated into violence, school closures, and mass detentions. Thousands of protests were held over the weekend in what organizers called ICE Out for Good Weekend of Action. I am not here to rehash the horrific news and state-sanctioned violence this past week that has been made undeniably visible. I'm also not here to fearmonger or leave you feeling even more scared for yourself, your community, and the state of the world at large. I'm scared too. I'm dysregulated too, and that's a good thing. That means that we aren't desensitized to blatant disregards of human life and human rights. Feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, and terrified is a totally normal and valid response to fascism. But I want to be very clear about this. We cannot let that hold us back from acting in the face of injustice. So what I'm here to do is provide resources for you to develop an action plan for sustainable engagement in this fight. I'm not here to educate you on the atrocities. I'm here to help you think about your role in the fight against them and to empower you to take action. Actions that make space for regulation and accommodate to your capacity, whatever that looks like, while still being able to do something. So in this video, I'm going to reframe what activism and organizing actually is, share tools and resources for you to identify contributions that you can make in the greater ecosystem of collective action, and give specific anti-ICE actions that you can take right now. Protests are super important because they provide visibility for issues that need to be addressed, but they aren't the only tool that we have to organize. And so I'm going to highlight some of the other ways that we can continue to maintain stamina, I guess you could say, after a weekend full of protests. When interviewing an activist in my community, we spoke about redefining activism, or more accurately, challenging the way that we traditionally think about what constitutes activist acts. At its heart, she believes activism is about education, though that education can come in many forms. In our conversation, we discovered that there's no one mold for how to be an activist, and at the end of the day, activism is about engaging in your community, educating, and bringing awareness to places of inequality, disenfranchisement, or disempowerment. In one of my classes last semester, I reflected on what I learned about organizing. I said, I entered the class thinking I would learn about the symptoms themselves, but what I've learned instead is that a large part of feminists' work is to use frameworks of analysis to identify the symptoms and act. In the same way that physicians must assess physical signs and symptoms to reach a diagnosis and prescribe treatment, feminists must assess symptoms of inequitable systems to name issues and organize action to address them. So coming back to our original question, what is activism and organizing actually? I think it comes down to community and engagement. It's acting on injustice and working together to create targeted systemic or policy change, and it's using your own unique skills and gifts to contribute. So how do we do that exactly? To start, I'm going to explain the ecosystem of advocacy, and I'm going to use Every Mother Counts advocacy toolkits in order to illustrate that. This toolkit is an introduction to advocacy and the tools that you can use to push for change in your communities. And while this toolkit focuses on maternal health, it's broadly applicable. So you start with the issue, and then you start planning out who, what, where, when, and why. For the purposes of this video, I want us to think about the who, right? Because this is where you can think about how you fit into the ecosystem of collective action. So these are questions like, who are you? What are your strengths? Why are you well positioned to make change? Who else needs to be at the table in order to work effectively and equitably? That one's super important. Who else is doing this work that you can collaborate with? Who are the internal champions who you could work with? And who has the power to make the change that you want to see? Your specific role in advocacy is going to be based on your strengths, your passions, and your lived experience. You may be the mobilizer, you may be the connector, the mediator, investigator, storyteller, or some other player. I'm going to leave this toolkit linked in the description box down below, and you can go ahead and look at it and use it as a resource as you begin thinking about where you fit into the ecosystem of collective action, what your strengths are. You can use the tools and resources that this toolkit provides, but then apply it to any cause. And while you're at it, maybe start advocating for maternal health as well, because that's another super important issue. And finally, the most tangible and practical advice from this video. Here are some specific anti-ICE actions that you can take right now. One of the first groups that I would highly recommend looking into is Immigrant Defense Project. They have all kinds of information on their website to learn about ICE raids. They have a toolkit here. I would check that out for sure. They have different types of training materials, all kinds of information in both English as well as Spanish. They have Know Your Rights materials. Study these materials and don't be afraid to share them with neighbors or anyone in your community. Leadership is not about titles, status, and wielding power. A leader is anyone who takes responsibility for recognizing the potential in people and ideas and has the courage to develop that potential. I've never thought of myself as a leader, especially in politics. I mean, even in this video, I'm like reading off my phone because I can't memorize speeches that quickly. And I'm definitely not an expert on this topic, but I can and do recognize the potential for people to be more engaged. Protesting is so important, and I don't mean for this video to diminish the the importance of protest, but activism that only works for some bodies is not sustainable, and protests on their own don't equate to organizing. They're an important piece in a larger ecosystem. There's really no one size fits all to what being an activist is. When we dare to lead, we don't pretend to have the right answers. We stay curious and ask the right questions. I think the leadership that is most needed right now is each of us asking the right question. Specifically, given these frameworks and resources, what can I do consistently to remain engaged, support larger efforts, and express my dissent for what is currently happening? We don't see power as finite and hoard it. We know that power becomes infinite when we share it with others. We don't avoid difficult conversations and situations. We lean into vulnerability when it's necessary. The power of our voices is loud when we speak together. The power of our dissent is strong when we dissent together. Collective action is the answer. I'm not here to be your leader. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here because if there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's agency to join the fight in a way that is sustainable for you and that plays to your own unique strengths, because we need you. We need you to be a leader. We need you to stand up against ICE actions and harmful federal response.